The Persnickety Witch of Fiddyment Creek by Gaye Pollinger, Chapter 9. During the afternoon and evening, we managed to get the inside of the house pretty much cleaned up and safe. The outside was a different matter, and like Tara in Gone with the Wind, we'd think about that tomorrow. After the kids were in bed, Pearl, Tom, and I sat around the kitchen table and looked at the various files and discussed what everything meant. There were T-bills, stocks and bonds, mutual funds, certificates, life insurance policies, checkbooks, saving account statements, papers on purchases and sales, deeds and information about various safe deposit boxes, and my mother's will. It was a lot to take in and digest. Without an adding machine, I'd say you're worth several $1 million, Pearl said. Several million? I questioned and gulped at the same time. Are you sure? Oh my, yes. The money I sent when you were in college was just interest for one of the investments, Pearl said. Well, what do I do with it? I asked. Invest it and make more. Be a philanthropist, travel, start a business, go shopping, whatever you like. Pearl told us, just be careful and be wise with it. When you have wealth like this, God expects you to be responsible. Well, I've been thinking of ways to improve Fiddyment, to make it more inviting and attractive to our residents and neighboring communities. Is that something I could do with some of my money? Well, yes, of course, and I think it's a grand idea, said Pearl. Do you have any specific ideas? Well, I'd encourage business owners to take more pride of ownership and spiffy up their shops to make them appealing for visitors. Develop a play area for children. Donate some money to the church and to the music programs at the high school, and put more welcome signage outside of town. And Tom, I haven't even mentioned this to you, but I'd like to do something with the old general store. Be an example to everyone else, I suggested. Sounds good, Luz. Would you revisit the general store or do something else? Tom asked. Oh, I don't know. Not yet anyway. I'll start thinking about it. First, we have to make some repairs in the house and the backyard. What should we do with that huge hole where the tree was? I asked both of them. A swimming pool would improve your property value, Pearl suggested, and you could put an attractive tall fence around it to be safe and keep inquisitive neighbors out. Oh, the kids love to swim. Thinking ahead, if we made it a fun place for them to invite their friends over, we'll have better control over them when they're teens. What do you think, Tom? Well, I think a pool costs a lot of money to install and upkeep. I held up the files on the table and just looked at him. Oh yeah, I forgot. Wow, it hasn't sunk in yet, Tom said. I wouldn't mind having a pool. Well, let's sleep on it and talk about it again tomorrow, I said as I yawned. I am absolutely bushed. The next morning, we were all back in the kitchen having breakfast when the doorbell rang. It was Michael and his family with cleanup equipment and a bag of donuts. Reporting for duty, sir, Michael said as he saluted in the doorway. Michael looked at Jameson and said, Hey there, Twister, how you doing? And Jameson made a mad dash toward him and leaped into his arms. Hey, come on in. It's good to see you, Tom said as he slapped Michael on the back. You came to give us a hand. That's pretty amazing. Your family and families help each other, Michael said. Looks like you've made headway here. What about out back? That's a different story. I ordered a dumpster, which should be delivered any time, Tom told him, and they went out the door to the back porch. We spent the morning cleaning up, sweeping, vacuuming, sorting, washing, and polishing. The guys and Abby and Gabby worked outside hauling debris and putting it in one pile. And then we heard it. The dumpster was delivered to the strains of 76 trombones, while the high school band marched down the sidewalk 2 by 2 and stopped in front of our place and finished the tune. The kids weren't in their uniforms, but they still had pride, and they looked and sounded fabulous. The drum major marched forward to Tom and said, May we help, Mr. McGuire? What can we do for you? Tom was dumbfounded and stood there speechless. Finally, Michael said to Tom, The dumpster's here. Why not have the kids fill it? Late in the afternoon, they did. And then the marching band left and we were settled down. Michael and Gaye said to us in unison, "We have an idea." Tom was dumbfounded and stood there speechless. Finally, Michael said to Tom, "The dumpster's here." Tom was dumbfounded and stood there speechless. Finally, Michael said to Tom, "The dumpster is here. Why not have the kids fill it?" So they did. Late in the afternoon, the marching band left and we were settling down. Michael and Gail said to us in unison, "We have an idea. How about we take the kids home with us for a couple days? We'll go to the museum, to the lake, and out for pizza, and to the zoo. And then you guys and Aunt Pearl could come for the kids and stay for the weekend. We've got plenty of room. Abby and Gabby would love to oversee playtime with your kiddos. And we've got a guest house for you, Tom and Lucy. What do you think about it?" All four children looked at us anxiously, waiting for a reply. Tom and I looked at each other and at Pearl, and we all shrugged our shoulders and said, "Great." After our children left with the Morgans and the house was quiet, Pearl and I sat on the back porch looking over the changes in the yard. "I miss the tree," I commented. "It gave us some good shade." "Well," said Pearl, "I've been sitting here visualizing a swimming pool, and you know, Lucy, it is a perfect spot. I mean, you've got plenty of room to put in a good-sized pool and maybe even an attached jacuzzi. I mean, you could even have a shallow end for little tykes and non-swimmers." I could sense the excitement and I became interested. "Do you think there'd be room for a cabana over there?" I asked. "Oh, sure. That would be nice for guests to change out of their wet clothes without going into the house." Tom started the barbecue to grill steaks for us, and we knew he couldn't hear our discussion, but he yelled in our direction, "Yeah, I think a pool would be great out here." That confirmed it. We were getting a pool. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And remember, the Principal Grandma says, you'll never know what comes next until you turn the page.